Daddy. Daddy. Let me stop saying that. Hey, welcome back to my channel. I just finished my 4th book of the year and now I'm ready to move read. I don't know why I say that because I move read every day. I have a huge stack of books from the library. I did already start one of them. I actually filmed this video before already, but I just didn't like it, so we're redoing it. But that'll also give me a chance to speak about the book that I did start. So this is my library stack. I'm gonna save the one that I did start last. I'm just going off of assumptions of what I think I know about the book. This is a cozy mystery, Savvy Summers and the Sweet Potato Crimes. Take It Back, it might be a thriller. The Girls Who Grew Big. This is probably like a emotional fiction. I don't know what you call that. Not emotional, contemporary. Emotional fiction. The Care and Feeding of Ravenously Hungry Girls. I have no idea what this is. Maybe contemporary fiction. Love and Bloom. This is a romance. Lore of the Tides. This is a fantasy. And Vampires of El Norte. I've heard this is more romance. The one book out of all of these that I did end up choosing is, well, let me just say this. The one book I really want to read right now is Heated Rivalry. I am obsessed. I have 2 folders, one on TikTok and one on Instagram that is labeled Heated Rivalry. And it has 100+ videos each from the show or just from interviews with Hudson and Connor. Mind you, I have not even seen the show yet. I want to read it first. I swear I've seen all of the scenes that I need to see so much that now the only question is which scenes go in which episode and what's the order. But since I don't have it yet, because my library doesn't have the physical book and I really want to read it physically for some reason, they don't have the physical book, so I would still have to wait. They do have the ebook and the audiobook, I want to say, but I'm not listening to it. I don't want to listen to it. I want to read it with my eyes. It was like a 7-month wait. I was like number 9. I think I'm now number 7 or number 6. I keep debating on whether or not I want to go out and buy it, but I told myself I don't want to buy white books. But I did say that I didn't want to buy white books from, and white books meaning by white authors, from Barnes and Noble specifically. We have 2, I'll say 3. We have like 3 local bookstores. One of them that I follow on Instagram just posted today or yesterday, I want to say today, that they got in the first 3 books from the series. So I could go and buy it from there. I do know that the TikTok shop sells it, like the publisher sells it on there, but you gotta pay for shipping. So yeah, it might be 50%, 60% off, but by the time you pay $5 shipping, at least where I'm at, you paying the same that you would in the store. So why would I want to wait for it to come in when I could just go out and buy it? So I may or may not go buy it from one of the local bookstores. In the meantime, I did pick up another queer romance that I saw at my library, and this is called I Think They Love You. I am honestly, I can't tell with the bookmark. I honestly might be 50% of the way through. I'm so curious. I'm on page 156 out of like 3 something. Okay, there's an epilogue. 320 pages. Let's check. Calculatrice. Oh shoot, I forgot. 3 what? 320. So 156. Okay, no, StoryGraph was right. I'm 48% of the way through. You could say 49% of the way through. Chapter 12. I want to say there's 20 chapters. Could I finish it today? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. I did read a little bit on my phone today because my library has the ebook and I wanted to read it. It's going good. As of right now, I'm at a 4-star. I don't really see myself going any higher, but I also don't really see myself going any lower as of yet. This is about Denzel, or Dens for short. He works for his dad's company. It's like an event planning company. His dad is retiring. The dad actually wants to look for a CEO out of the family. This is a family company. One of the family members says, well, no, let's keep it in here. So he's gonna host a competition, and if you want to compete for CEO, you can. If I'm not pleased, I'm going out of the family. Denzel puts his name in, but it's to show them and convince them that he is ready for this. He's not the youngest. Is he the youngest? I know his older sister Cammie is also competing competing for this. But while he also wants to compete for this CEO position, he also, like, to prove his point that he's ready, says that he is in a committed relationship. He's not in no committed relationship. So in walks his ex. His ex's name is Braylon. Well, when they were together, he went by Bray. They end up breaking up. And when they run into each other again, Braylon does tell him, I go by my full name now, Braylon. So they are going to fake date. Denzel, or Denz, wants to prove to his family that he's ready, whereas Braylon is also getting something out of it with his job. He's looking for a promotion. And this event company that Denz's family owns is like a big deal. I mean, I'm not that surprised that I'm enjoying this because at the end of the day, it is a romance, but it's also second chance, okay? They told us why they broke up, but I'm wondering if there's more to the story. They were together when they were in college. I think the first chapter is when they're juniors. It's the prologue. At the end of that chapter, they are going to meet Denz's family, but they end up breaking up. And the story that we're told is Braylon moves away to London to continue his education or for a job. I want to say it was to continue his education, but I don't remember. And they broke up. They end up running into each other, I want to say 5 years later. Denzel seizes the opportunity to say, hey, this is my fake boyfriend. Well, not my fake boyfriend, but this is my boyfriend. And the family, of course, already knows him. But what's so interesting is fake dating used to be one of my favorite tropes. It's not really my favorite so much anymore. I don't think I've ever read a book with fake dating in it where it was exes. It's always like strangers that seize the opportunity or forces the other person to fake date, and then they end up falling for each other. So I'm not gonna say out of my comfort zone. That feels a little dramatic, but it is kind of throwing me because it's like there is this established relationship already there, this connection. We didn't really get to see it, and I think with this kind of trope, I do like to see it from the beginning and then the falling in love. Whereas this, they're still falling in love, but it's more like they're falling back in love. With that being said, I don't know if I would say this feels 50-50. 50 romance, 50 of this Denzel competing for the CEO spot. That, for some reason, feels heavier in here. That plot with him competing with Cammy. So it almost feels, I'll say 70-30. 70 of the CEO plot and 30 of this rekindling of a relationship. Now, my favorite chapter so far, again, I'm on 12, was chapter 8, because this is the first chapter that we get with them really sitting down after this fake dating deal is made. And it was just such a cute chapter. I really enjoyed it. Also, I love the humor in here. I wouldn't say it's so much that I would say this is a rom-com or anything. I don't even know if that's on here anywhere, but it is funny. In fact, had I owned this book, I definitely would be tabbing it. And since I did read some on my phone, I have tabbed. Well, not tabbed, but highlighted. And I mentioned this before, there's just something about traditionally published romances that don't really do it for me anymore. I don't know if it's because it's this rubric that they're following, and I couldn't tell you what's on the rubric. But if you put all of these romances that are traditionally published next to each other, I feel like they all feel the same. They read the same way. What I didn't mention is in the previous clip that I'm not using, it was between this book and Take It Back, two completely different books. But again, I really wanted a romance, so I went with this. I'm thinking when I'm done with this, I'll probably read this as well. I'm not saying that the only books in this video that I'm gonna read are my library books, but just for the hell of it, I would probably read this next. Depending on what this one gives, like once I'm finished with it, I could go into one more romance. I'm only hesitant about this one because it's long. It's not extremely long. It's 352 pages, which is an average length for a book, a normal length for a book, but it's a romance. I don't really like my romances that long. That's dang near 360 pages. And 360 is where it's like, ooh, that's a lot of book, especially for a romance. This is perfect. This is like 320. Then I would probably say this mystery, then maybe Lore of the Tide, and then I don't really know much about these three to choose, which I doubt these are going to be in this video anyway. Realistically, after these two, well, after this one, I'm probably going to read a Kindle book. I stayed up until 10:15 finishing this book, and I'm gonna give it a 4-star. Everything that I said prior still stands. I think that it made sense why we did focus a lot on Den's wanting the CEO role. When I first started the book, I was under the impression that it was gonna be more in the background and we would focus more on the romance, so it threw me when we were getting both kind of equally. Now that I finished it, I can say we got both equally. It wasn't bad. I think it worked, and it definitely played its role, so it made sense why we focused a lot on that. I could see myself giving this maybe a 4.25. Anything between a 4 and a 5 is fine with me, but I'm just gonna give it a 4-star. Did it quench my thirst for romance? For now. Let's talk about this one. This is called Take It Back. This is a crime thriller. It is 291 pages, 11 chapters. These chapters about to be long as hell. I'm in chapter 2, page 30. I just started it today. I do have the audiobook for it, but I don't want to listen to it just yet. I want to read it with my eyes for some more, and then maybe tomorrow I'll listen to a little bit because I'm at work all day. We have a character named Zara. She was once a high-ranking lawyer, and she pivots and starts working for a sexual assault center as an advisor with victims like Jody Wolf. Jody Wolf is a 16-year-old with facial deformities. The only reason I mention it is because it's specified in the synopsis, and I'm assuming it's gonna play a role in the story. She accuses 14 boys of assaulting her. These 14 boys come from immigrant families. The boys have proven alibis. The best friend of Jody doesn't believe her. The town itself is split, but the most important thing is that Zara believes Jody. Here's the thing. Jody is white and the 14 boys are Muslim. And our main character, Zara, is also a Muslim woman. Oh my gosh. I normally hate reading books like this. The ending is always so satisfying though, because whatever happened, like the person gets what they get. But I'm nervous. But we're going to be tackling issues of sex, race, and social justice in this explosive criminal trial of the year, which is building to a shocking conclusion. I have high expectations about this book. StoryGraph is showing that this is a 3.87. This is based off of 2,000 plus reviews. I mention that because number one, it's a thriller. Thrillers, out of all the genres that I read, people rate that one the harshest. And it's a 3.87, and it's on StoryGraph, not Goodreads. I don't have Goodreads. I don't use it. I normally don't care about the rating because when I used Goodreads, I never felt like Goodreads was accurate. But also, I skimmed a few reviews. I didn't want to read a ton of them because I was scared that someone would spoil it. I mean, they were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's the way the trial went, or it went this. I'm like, oh, so it really is shocking at the end? Gotta read it. Gotta read it. I did start listening to the audiobook when I got to chapter 5 because I worked today. I am enjoying the audiobook. I would also recommend it. I would actually recommend both if you want to start this with your eyes first and then jump into the audiobook, because there's so many characters, right? There's the 4 boys, there's Zara, there's Jody, there's other characters that are playing a part, you know, with the trial. And this isn't in first person, this is told in third person. We're getting everyone's point of views, and it can be really confusing if you start it like this first. I was aware, right, that the townspeople, some people would be for Jody, some people would be for the boys. Oh my gosh, I was still not really prepared for what the author has put in this book. When I tell you the author did not hold back at all, which I love, it's not only the bullying and the disgusting comments towards Jody because she's disabled, it's also the comments towards Zara because she's also Muslim, and then the 4 boys that are being accused are Muslim. So it's like her community is against her because they think she's against the community. Oh my gosh. And don't get me started. I almost forgot to mention it because I didn't write it down, but I almost forgot about Jody's mama. Golly, I think her name is Christine or Christina. What a woman. I don't really have a rating that I'm shooting for right now. I know in between like a 4 and a 5. What do I think the ending is gonna be? I don't know. I don't know what this twist could be like. Oh, I didn't see this coming. I don't know what you could possibly do because the book itself, it's following the trial. I'm sure the ending is gonna be what the whether or not the boys are guilty or not. As far as like what could be the twist, I don't know, other than maybe she was lying, but I don't think so because I don't think this author would write that and shine the victim in a bad light. So I think what happened is true. I'm thinking that the twist could be how the truth comes out, but I don't know. I just don't see the ending me like as far as what I might want to read next, because once I get towards the end of a book, I start thinking about what's next. And I'm almost done with this. I definitely want to read something lighter. I don't know if I want to read a Kindle book or one of my library books. The only 2 options that I have are the cozy mystery and the one romance. The only thing that's killing me about the romance is it's long. It's like 352 pages. That's a really long romance in my opinion, and I don't like them that long. But there's also no Kindle book that comes to my mind that's also calling my attention. We'll just have to see.
Ever shine for ya, baby, bring all the love, big small, baby, I'm down for ya. I go like to try for ya, make it the right or die, something alright for ya. So give me your love, for real love. I'm a loyal ninja, for real love. So hard you give me the chills, girl, yeah, chills, girl. Give me your love, for real love. And I'm a loyal ninja, for real girl, yeah. I smile when you catch me, yeah. Sweet me, yeah, you got me. You're my magic, baby, magic. The way you are is magic. You're my magic, baby, magic. The way you move is magic. You're my magic, baby, magic. The stars in your eyes are magic. You're my magic, baby, magic. And everything about you is magic, magic. Everything I said for you. Girl, anything you want, just knock or open doors, and me, I no go lie to you. And if our love gets to that level, I feel bad for you. Out of the million, you're one of the real ones. Baby, let me make my house your chill zone. I'ma hold you down, I'ma hold you down, baby. Now give me your love for real, girl. Girl, I'm alone, your ninja for real.
Let's talk about Take It Back. I was so mad when I got to the end of the book. I was like, I'm giving this a 3-star. Mind you, throughout the entire book, I was like, I think it's gonna be a 4. Then I had to stop and remember I did like the journey. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I honestly don't get the ending. And it's one of those things I think I just have to tell y'all. So if you guys still wanna read this, you're gonna just have to skip over. But let me tell you what the twist was. So the twist was that Jody was lying. That's the twist. She was lying. And then at the very, very end of the book, we get another twist. Turns out she wasn't lying. What? I was like, what is going on? Like, I'm so confused. Is she lying or is she not lying? Did it happen? But it wasn't just that. It was also literally how the book ends. And I recently saw something on TikTok. It's this new app and it's anti-AI. And it's somewhere where you can go to discuss books. And I need to find what app it is and see if anyone has spoken about this book and created a forum and asked questions, because I'm so confused. Like, I need to understand what happened in the end. But the reason why I'm also just giving it a 3.5 is because, again, I did like the journey. I did like the background that we got with Zara and Zara with her community, and I did like that part. But the book overall, like the actual trial, I was not satisfied with the ending. It was something that I thought about, and I was kind of right and kind of wrong. The audiobook was good though. And then I did start another book. When I finished this, I was like, I don't know what I want. If I'm gonna read something physical, I really only have 2 options that would be lighter. However, last night I did look up some Kindle books. I really wanted something spicy and maybe a little dark. I didn't mind reading something dark, like a dark romance. There's an author who I've read before, but I downloaded downloaded 2. They're long. And I was like, the one thing I don't want to read right now is a long book. I don't want to read a novella, but I also don't want to read anything 400 plus. Both books that I downloaded by this author and the one that I decided to go with and then I quickly DNF'd is 658 pages. Yeah. And then the other one is 4 something, or not quite 4. It says 418, but there's like a lot of extra stuff. The story itself might be like 390, 398. The author is Simran, by the way. She's an Indian author. She writes dark romance. The one that I DNF'd was this one. It's called The Invite. So usually with authors who I've read before, I don't really read the synopsis of their books, trigger warnings, anything like that. I just jump into it. However, at the beginning of this book, she did put her website, hey, if you want to check content warnings, click on the link, whatever. I did. I only saw 3 books on there with trigger warnings. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and read it anyway. Yeah, no. You know, there's an audience for everyone, and I do try to be more aware of what I'm reading. And the very first scene in here, we have a girl who's in the woods. She's going somewhere in this new town, and it's 2 masked men. They crowd around her, and the digits, you know what I'm saying? And she's saying like, no. Now that's where I stopped. I think that was chapter 2. The scene ended in chapter 2. That's assault. It's literally assault. As I was looking for reviews for the book, anybody mentioning what I just read, nobody had until the very last one. And it was someone that had read further than me, but did eventually DNF. And I took a screenshot. She says that what ended up happening is at the beginning of the book, it was supposed to be primal play, but they mixed up the women. This woman, she's 26 by the way, it was the wrong woman. She was just in the woods. She wasn't supposed to be in there, and it was supposed to be someone else. However, she does mention that one of the guys did know that it wasn't her, but again, I didn't care. Now I also wanted to see what the tropes were, and someone did say that this was teacher student. It is age gap as well. It's 18 and 26. The reviewer mentioned there was nowhere mentioned that it was a high school. If high school were mentioned, then she wouldn't have continued reading it, but that's what it is. Not only is the person 18, they're promoting it as teacher student. And when I stopped on chapter 3, like I didn't start it, but I did skim, like literally it says chapter 3 and there's the paragraph. It says principal. If you're in university or in college, you don't call anybody a principal, and you don't call your professor a teacher, you say professor. So everything was pointing towards high school teacher student. So we're not doing that. So I quickly DNF. I'm not gonna mark it on my StoryGraph as a DNF because I hadn't even marked that I was reading it, so it's fine. Now the one that I did start by her, which sad to say, I just won't be able to read every book of hers, but this is the one that I did start. It's called 'Tis the Season of Wicked Deeds. It is a holiday, well, I'll put it up. It's a holiday romance, and I kid you not, I read the first 40% in bed this morning. I'm obsessed. So this is about Twinkle. Her name is Twinkle. So at the very beginning of the book, Twinkle is going on a date in place of her best friend named Tina. Tina's parents had set her up with someone. Tina don't want to do it, so she has Twinkle go in her place, pretend to be her. On this date, she ends up meeting Julian. Now, Julian is also Indian. This is an Indian dark romance. He's tatted, he's buff, he's tall, he has a ear piercing, and on this date she's again pretending to be Tina, but she's having to do all the wrong things so that he doesn't want to continue seeing her. At the end of the date, they do kiss, and at some point he does say, yeah, you're right, we're not compatible, and he goes on his way. Fast forward 6 months. It is now the Christmas holiday. I think this is like Christmas / New Year's. Twinkle, I can't stop giggling about her name. Twinkle is going to Switzerland, and when she gets there, she finds out that the room that she booked is a 2-bedroom, but it's connected. It's 2 cottages, but it's connected by the balcony. So technically her room is her room. Guess who she sees? She sees Julian all the way in Switzerland. She tries to hide. He finds her. Turns out his name is Julian, but he goes by Kingston. And this is when he finally finds out that she's not who she said she was at the beginning. She's not Tina. She's someone completely different. He doesn't care. He's still enamored with her. Turns out that he owns this resort that she's staying at. So long story short, she has a list of things that she wants to do in Switzerland. But we as a reader also know that she has another list with other things that she wants to do, like Yeah. She accidentally gives him the wrong list, and she gives him that list. This entire week, they're gonna be doing things based off of that list. I'm probably now 50% of the way through because I did continue it. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with it. This will probably be my last book for this video because I feel like I've read so much. La longue premiere. Okay. Y'all, let's talk about the book. This is not a book that I normally would have reached for had I not already read the author before and had I known what was in there. This is one of those smutty books because this was smutty. To me, sometimes there is a difference between smutty and spice. I always talk about spice, but to me there is a bit of a difference. When I think of spice, I think of like regular amount of sex, nothing too exciting in the scenes. And when I think about smut, I'm thinking about the stuff that you might not try on your own. And it's wild. It gets wild. And that's exactly what this was. Spicy is not dramatic enough in my opinion. This was definitely smutty. And it's one of those things where you have to put what you know aside and kind of suspend a little bit of belief, because if there is something in this book that you would like to try, you need to do your own research. It wasn't until about 70%, I want to say it was 74%, I realized there was no safe word. There was no established set of rules, you know, and boundaries that were set. And this book definitely needed that. I feel like some authors get away with it sometimes because it is fiction. So it's like, if you want to try something, you need to go do the research yourself anyway. Don't automatically assume that the author did any kind of research. What was that? Kingston was like night and day when it came to when he was in the act and when he was outside of that, when they were just going on about their lives. It started off very funny, very sweet, right? This was before they started getting it in, and it was cool. I was like, oh my gosh, like the author did say, you know, this is gonna be a light read, not as heavy as her other work. Yeah, until they start getting it in. And when I tell you, it's like a switch, and he's just like, he gets into it, and he's very like that's the best way to explain it. I don't want to say aggressive, but I think the way that he acts also matches with what was on her list. Now, what was on her list is not something that I'm into. One of them I read in a book, but I DNF'd. But I feel like now I need to go read it again since I read this one. But I'm not really into that at all. I haven't read them in forever. You don't know what's on her list until they actually start knocking it off the list. I want to say there's about 6 things. It also wasn't really what I was expecting either, because it wasn't anything specific. But the 2 main things that are on her list is the whole slave and master thing. Not into that at all. However, in this book, it was more so like him just calling her like his slave. There wasn't any like there was none of that. Thank you, Jesus. Now, was there? I don't think so, because I would have DNF'd 100%. I'm trying to think. Watch, I'm wrong. But no, I would have known that. I would have noticed that. And I remember as I was reading it saying, oh, like I don't like that. But oh, it's not going that far. It's really just like do as I say kind of thing, and then I'm your master, da 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 da. Again, I'm not into that. It was fine in the book. It was okay. The other one is the, what do you call it? Like DGBG, DGLG, the whole daddy. The whole daddy and little girl thing. But it was more so her calling him daddy. Let me stop saying that. Yeah, I'm not into that either, but that was on her list. Had I known that was in there, I probably wouldn't have read it based off of the slave and the master thing. I probably would have still read it for the, I'm not saying it again, but I would have skimmed. And that's kind of what I did. I skimmed over those words. I didn't actually say it in my head. This is an author who I've read before, and she does have another series that I want to read, but I don't know, y'all. She pushing the envelope a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. And it's like, I don't need to read a book just because, you know, it's an author that I love. If it's something that I'm not gonna be into and I don't want to give a shot, don't read it. Wait for something else. And she is a dark romance writer. On one hand, I kind of do know what I'm getting myself into. It just never really the specifics. But I need to go back on her website because I swear to you, I only saw 3 books on the list. And it was none of the 2 books that I read. So I don't know. I don't know if she just didn't update her website or what. But that's it for today's video. If you reached the end of this video, comment down below this emoji. And I'll see... that was dumb. And I'll see you next week. Bye!